Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'll be playing some more Forspoken. I'll be checking out the new FSR3 and fluid motion performance with the latest patch to Forspoken, which allows you to use FSR3. We've been waiting for this feature for a long time, so I just want to see how it works against a lower end piece of hardware at a lower resolution and see if it works just as effective. So playing at a resolution of 1920 by 1080, I'll be using a maximum FPS of 240, but I'll be using VSync as this is recommended by AMD for, I think, more consistent frames in terms of frame pacing. Now, I'm practically maxing everything out on the game. However, I'm using Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3 in terms of upscaling at the quality preset. I do have motion blur and depth of field off. I just feel the game looks better like this. But I do have ray trace, ambient occlusion and shadows enabled. So the game is at pretty high settings, especially for this type of hardware. Ray tracing is usually the first thing you turn off, but with FSR3 and the frame generation, it does allow you to kind of add some higher end settings that you wouldn't normally use. Now, I generally wouldn't use FSR at lower resolutions. It doesn't look that great, but honestly I didn't see too much of a difference from native 1080p. I don't know if FSR3 itself is just an upgrade over FSR2 in terms of the upscaling, but it certainly doesn't look that bad. So this is the way I'm going to play it. Okay, we've got some action here. These crocodiles are everywhere around this level. I've seen a lot of feedback about this feature, and I think a lot of people are just not very happy that this was one of the games they chose to debut the feature on, as it's not the most popular, it has to be said. Now, I can understand that to a degree. I mean, I actually enjoyed this game, so I'm not one of them that shares that, but I think having a bit more than 2 games for a feature we've waited for almost a year for would have been a good start. But hey, it's here now. There's a lot of enemies. They love to gang up on you on this game. You think you're only having one battle with one group, it's like a whole nother group joins in. But as you can see, holding over 60 frames per second, no problem. And it actually feels a lot smoother and responsive than it did on my RTX 4090, because I am using Anti-Lag Plus on my RX 7600. And I think that is the difference between FSR3 and frame generation feeling laggy and not, because I truly believe the 7000 series really brings out the best of the feature, because the latency reduction is so important. I generally feel that NVIDIA's Reflex is a lot more mature and effective, but I would also say that the FSR3 experience on the 7000 series GPU is considerably better than it was on my RTX 4090. So it's not an even playing field, even though the feature's available to everyone. Man, crocodiles, they're everywhere. So looking at VRAM usage, I'm only using around 6.3 gigabytes, so even with all the bells and whistles, it's still within my 8 gigabyte frame buffer, so that's nice to see. This game can use a lot of VRAM depending on what resolution you play at. One of the things that let this game down is the frame spikes. So I'll be watching closely for that and seeing just how many I can notice. Some more enemies somewhere. These guys are pretty harmless. That was a pretty bad frame spike there. I don't know if it's an issue of caching different textures while I'm using different abilities, but that was very, very noticeable. This is the wrong magic to use against these guys. I think they're weak to water, these ones. Man, that was a horrible frame spike there. Yeah, so not the smoothest experience so far. Maybe things will get better over time. I think this enemy can fly. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, when I use my level 3 abilities, it does cause major frame spikes. So, you know, anti-lag and frame generation doesn't completely get rid of those frame spikes that I initially thought, which is unfortunate. Nothing interesting here. See if we can find a way up to that bridge. Oh, it looks like there's a way to go up this way. See what we can find up here. Probably more enemies. I do love the way this game is so open. That is definitely the best thing about it. Doesn't seem to be anything here. There's usually a lot of enemies lurking if you haven't cleared this area. I'll just go to the other side. Some enemies over here. Yeah, some major frame spikes. Really, really does break the immersion, unfortunately. I'm not too sure how much enabling VSync actually helps. I mean, I saw a lot of people making that comment on my previous videos, but honestly, I can't really see the difference. Okay, what I'm going to do now is try the game without the upscaling part of FSR and seeing how it plays at native. Okay, so we're down to the 60s now. So we lost around 40 FPS at least. So, you know, that is considerably lower. And yes, you can definitely feel the input lag. This doesn't feel like 60 FPS. It's very, very noticeable. Yeah, I would say it definitely feels more of a 45. Yeah, there's a few more areas I need to explore. Okay, I can see some enemies in the distance. Go and check them out. I've got a lot of flyers here. Yeah, this feels so bad without using upscaling. It's really, really bad. Now, I know a few of you be saying, well, this is a demanding game and you're using ray tracing. Even so, you know, it doesn't feel great. So I'm going to switch this back to quality so I can actually play better. Took that one down. There is like a dungeon over here that I can do, but it's not that interesting, to be honest. So I'm going to stay away from there. The 7900X 3D isn't doing too much work. I'm not too sure if frame generation puts less stress on the CPU like it does with the NVIDIA side of things. I'd have to actually check that out at some point. Take these guys out. Nice. This game does have some of the best magic effects I've seen in terms of spells like fire, water, and ice and stuff like that. It does have its good points, but I think the story was a little bit lackluster. But all in all, I still enjoyed the game. I just love RPG games, that's probably why. What do we have here? Some more flying enemies to deal with. I want to show yourself and stop hiding. Just grab this chest and get out of here. Got rid of one enemy just to deal with another. Wow, there's a lot of them. And there's still more coming. Surely that's got to be it now. Oh, there's still a few more. There's always more. Okay guys, that was just a look at Forspoken on the RX 7600 and the 7900X 3D. I just wanted to see what it played like on a lower end system, and I have to say it's not that impressive, to be honest. I would say that if you're going to use frame generation, regardless of the resolution, you have to use some type of upscaling for it to feel smooth. I don't know if it's just this game's that demanding that you're not having generally high frame rates, but I guess I'll have to sample a bigger load of games before I can really make a final judgment on it. But so far, it's you know, it's a little bit hit and miss. It works, but honestly, you could probably still have a great experience if you just used the FSR quality with no frame gen, and you'll probably get around, say, 70-80 FPS maybe. No point of even speculating. Let's actually put that to the test. If I was to turn off the actual frame generation part, see how much FPS I'd get without it. Okay, it's a bit lower, so you get around 60, but you know, it just seems, it still feels the same almost, which is ridiculous. That's the thing I don't get. But it certainly adds a good performance boost at least. It just doesn't always feel as smooth as it should. So as you can see, about 50 frames is about 20 milliseconds, but if you enable frame generation, the milliseconds stay the same. So you get more frames, but you still keep the latency pretty much the same as just having FSR with upscaling and no frame gen on. So you don't really feel that 100 frames per second sharpness, but you don't lose too much. I think the latency only goes a bit about 2 milliseconds higher, so it's not too bad. So it all depends on your own experience, how you feel the game feels with or without it. I think it's going to be useful in a lot of games, but in this game not so much. I don't feel the benefits too much at 1080p, unfortunately, so still a lot to work on. Hopefully they can continue to improve reducing the latency. But it's a good start. At least they delivered the product. They can only improve on it now. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.